Hey Mimi, how are you today? Purring just like a champion. Alright, this is LordNoodles, and these are my shelves. They're wonderful, I like them. And I have some people on Diadem wanting to know how they were built. I will be talking about it a little bit today. We're going to go in pretty depth about it. In depth about it. Alright, so here's my shelves. Now I can actually see the camera. And first of note is that I put them on brackets, 1, 2, 3, and 4, because I wanted to have as few holes in the wall as possible, because my mom didn't like holes on the wall, and she's a fair point. Okay, we're going to go through this pretty quickly. Here I have the pieces I made each shelf out of. They are 3 feet sections. These are 3/8 inches. These are 1/2 inch. They're picked up from Lowe's. They're pretty cheap. This is less than $2. I think it's about $1.36, and this is about $2.41 before tax. And I have a discount there. But I arranged the shelves in such a manner that one is on top and one is in the front. Like this. My first step is to glue them all into place using wood glue. I put a bead of glue down, and then I just let it sit. And then I tilt it, and I have this one, and I have this one sit in place as well. For the back piece, the one that's up and down on top of it, I actually put a nail in it also. I first tried using a screw. It didn't work too well, so I drilled a small hole, smaller than the nail. These are 1-inch nails right here. And then, as you can see on this 2-foot section that I have used as an example, I drilled a hole and nailed it in there. It didn't really matter too much where that was, just as long as it's not too much in the way. It's hidden there. This front piece is held on by glue only. Okay, so back to which one is being nailed in. This one was nailed in, and this one was glued on. The glue is the lip for these. It should be able to hold these just fine. It says it bonds it stronger than wood, which makes me wonder how strong wood actually is, but that's not the point. After they are glued, actually one of the hardest parts I had to deal with, and this is not actually that hard, but getting these stickers off. If you don't do it right, you'll end up like what's behind Da Vinci's Mystic Ballad here, where the sticky stuff is still there. This is smooth. This is as far as I could get, but it wasn't a very good job. I just couldn't get them off. If you can get them off, great. There's probably some chemicals for that, but I didn't want to mess with it if I was going to mess with the wood. Anyway, once you have this shelf section done, like such, without the varnish and the stain, we are to varnish and stain it. I use these brushes over here. One second. I use these brushes here. They're just foam brushes, 79 cents. You'll need at least 2 of them. One for the stain itself here. I used an old maple stain spelled with an E on old. I'm pretty sure this is rather old. It's from my father. These are pretty cheap nonetheless. And you stain it. It gives it a nice color. There's 2 methods of doing this. You can use a brush, gives it that nice darker coat, or you can use a rag and like rub it in. It gives it a lighter coat. There's no wrong way to do that part, and you don't need layers, and you can't see as well when you mess up either, and that's the good part of that. I did the front. The very front, this is the facing out to the people. This, the back, and the top edges here. I also did the bottom, since you can kind of see the bottom of the shelves, and I didn't know which shelf was going to be where. I did not do the backs. This is not bare wood. The bare wood looks like that. I was experimenting with this 2-foot section. That is primer. Once you've done that, you want to put, I put 2 layers of stains on. And then you want to use polyurethane to coat it. This takes a long time overall. The actual process of staining it did not take long, but waiting. Put 1 coat on, wait 3 or 4 hours, or for me, a work day. Come home, put another coat on, wait till midnight. And that's if I got lucky. Sometimes I'm busy. I had other things going on. Next, you want to put the polyurethane on. It's a protective coat, varnish. And again, you put that on. You use this guy over here, or whatever you have, to sand it down lightly to make it smooth, and then you put another coat on after you wipe it off. Make sure all that powder that you just rubbed off is gone. I put 3 coats on. Took me a long time, but I was also fixing some mistakes I made. You don't want the stain to bubble up too much, otherwise it ends up like this right here. You can see the texture of it, kind of. You don't want that. After that, first, again, I was doing the brackets. The brackets are 6 feet sections. They're just whatever I thought would make a good bracket. They're also in Lowe's next to these pieces here. For those, though, when I mounted the brackets, I used an arbitrary measurement called Girls' Day in the middle there. The ceiling is exactly 1 Girls' Day album away from the brackets up top. We just pushed them up and drilled it in there. But we didn't drill straight, or we didn't screw it straight in. We drilled a small hole and then we drilled it in. Here are my power tools. That's a drill. You can probably borrow something from someone if you don't have one yourself. Otherwise, I mean, my dad's a bit handy. He's one who taught me how to do some of this stuff. He has them, but they're not too bad if you want to buy a simple one. But I drilled a small hole so it would not crack the wood whenever I screwed it into the drywall. And it's not just mounted on drywall, it's mounted on a stud. You have to use a stud finder, like the yellow thing here, to find the stud in the wall. Then you want to use these really long screws. These are 2.5 inch, because you have to go through the bracket, which is about 1/2 inch thick, like this. Gypsum, which is 5/8, that is the drywall itself. And then mounting it about 1 inch into the stud, which is the wood in the wall that actually supports weight, like your walls and the house and the roof and everything. If you don't use brackets, you can probably get away with about 1/2 inch less, but that's about it. Maybe not even, but still, you want to use really long screws for that. After that, I had drilled holes into the shelves themselves. You can't see it here, but I had marked on the back of my shelves over there some holes where they would be on the brackets here. Once I drilled those holes, I put a needle through to mark my spot in the paint, and drilled a small hole into this, not very deep, not as deep as this, about halfway through. And then I used short 1 inch screws here to go through this piece here and into the bracket on the back. If you're doing into the drywall, you'll need to use something much stronger and thicker to get into there, like these screws. I suggest doing the brackets just as it's much easier to use these small screws, where to go, small screws than it is to use these. That's a big difference. Once you mount those, once you mount the shelves on there, it starts looking like this. So I had a little problem because my shelves I made, when I made them, weren't entirely planned out. I didn't know what kind of spacing I had exactly. The shelves also didn't line up correctly because these are pretty well measured, but they're not exact always. So I had like a little gap here, but when lining up with the other shelf, it didn't work well. That's why if you look closely, here there's a gap. There's not as much of a gap. Here they're off-centered, and that's a bit off-centered too, but it's not too bad, especially when taken at a distance. Since this is my first project, I don't think it's a big problem, but you'll want to line them up more correctly if you were to start from the very beginning. When I made these, I marked these. I lined them up as best as I could with color and the way they fit with each other, left and right. And I labeled them right 1, left 1, right 2, left 2, right 3, left 3, right 4, left 4. And for these, I have a better idea of what I'm doing. Why I have these extra parts is because I want to add another shelf down there. These are separated by 1 foot. An album, the biggest album I have is 10 inches tall, which is about Girls' Day size. After school is the next big one. But those are 10 inches tall, which means they should fit on these 1 foot distance shelves. From here to here is 1 foot. Here to here. Which means you have a little extra room down here for putting it in. I think I've gotten everything covered. There's a few things I missed. Like, I used the drill a lot, and I lined up everything and used a pencil to mark it pretty well. I tried to match a color. This is glossy, and that is matte. You can't tell at all, like, especially in the video, but I can't tell in my own room that the difference unless I get really close to it. If you have any questions, let me know. I can discuss them and try to help you build them. I also have this poster here that I forgot to film in my Sunny Hill unboxing video, so here's that poster. Here's their signed album. Oop, don't fall over. It's a little bigger than everything here, which is good for a poster. Don't fall over. So there's that. And yeah, that's how I built my shelves. This is a 12-minute video featuring me and my cat, Mimi. So, I hope you try to do something like this. It's not too difficult, especially if you have someone that knows how to do things to help you. My dad helped me put the brackets on the wall. I got the shelves in myself. It does help to have a helping hand hold stuff while you're measuring or drilling. And those are put on the studs themselves. They are not, they're kind of an arbitrary measurement of where the stud is, because that matters more than exact measurements. Yeah. Any questions? Let me know. Have a good day.